Fistz hood story
Yes,
time.
my people.
Hackney boys carrying guns and knives to school.
This episode, I want to talk a little bit about my school years, my school life. So, and I mean secondary school life, when it started, the nitty gritty. So when I'd already transitioned to the roads from the beginning, because basically the whole of secondary school, I was on the road, you get me? So, obviously now I'm from Hackney, East London, but I didn't go to school in Hackney. I went to school in Newham, Forest Gate in Newham, a school called St. Bonaventure's. The story behind that, obviously Hackney's Hackney, innit? So at that age there, Mumsy just kind of wants to try and do the most she can to keep me away from the fuckery that's going on in the hood, innit? All the gang shit and all that, you get me? Obviously Hackney was rough, innit? But that didn't really have the desired effect. Do you know what I mean? But yeah. So, and the maddest thing is now, my Cody, who I've told you about, AP Hazard, yeah, he followed me throughout the whole of my school years. We was together from nursery to infant school to junior school to secondary school, all the way up, you get me? So even though we were both from Hackney, both from the same area, we both went to school in Newham, you get me? So, obviously, because we'd come from Hackney, and them times there, when we was going to school there, Hackney and Stratford was beefing, you get me? Hackney and, Newham was in wars from, like, all the madnesses that was going on at Young Man Standing and all that, the old school raves that used to be where where Carpenter's Road is now and all that shit, like, from all of that, you get me? So, yeah, we used to get a bit of stick, but from young, we had to hold up our thing, you get me? Yeah, we was just known as the Hackney Boys. They just knew us as the Hackney Boys. I said, oh yeah, that's the Hackney Boys, you get me? Me and Alps and two other man, but it was us two really, you get me? So every day, like, mum's life strike me down. I used to walk to school with at least 2 borers. I had a big flick thing that I had, and I used to keep that on my waist, and I had another little one that I used to put inside of my blazer pocket. So everyone always knew, you know what I'm saying? Them man I got, so no one really troubled us, you get me? In school. Like, I ain't had one fight in school. No one really, it never really, like, there was no problems. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't really that in school days. But, yeah, man. It was crazy, man. And then we started carrying machines, like, everything in school, but...
Fistz hood story time.
Yeah, so,
Hackney boys carrying guns and knives to school.
I'd say probably about year 9, we started... things started getting a bit more peak on the roads, and in school it started getting a bit more techie as well. Like, there were some brothers that called themselves what? Packy Panthers and Tandoori Tigers, I think they called themselves. They started coming outside the school and shit for us, you get me? Not for us specifically, but for anyone black, you know what I'm saying? So it started getting peak in school, and we started bringing our straps, you get me? We started bringing straps to school. We literally, both of us had one each in school, active. Strike me, like, bro, like, do you know what I'm saying? You could, like, it was crazy, man. When we look back on it now, it's like, Ross, like, what was we doing? But, yeah, man, it was some crazy times to think that we felt that we had to do that to feel safe, especially car man. Like, we're getting like 2-3 buses to school, you know what I'm saying? And this is where attacks were happening. People's getting moved to on buses and that. Bearing in mind, we have to go past certain ends that we've got problems with just to get to school. You know what I'm saying? Coming back from school and having madnesses on the way back. But I'll speak about them incidents in episodes themselves. You know what I mean? Car. That's like big events. You know what I mean? Big situations. But yeah, man. So yeah, it was a lot of things that were going on around and surrounding school. Not so much inside school. Didn't really have problems in school because it weren't really that. It's not our area, innit? And because we grew with these guys, we never had problems with no one in school. You know what I mean? It was more outside of school that or people trying to think from other schools thinking they're bad or whatever. But yeah, man, school days was fun, man. It was fun. It was interesting, you know. And a lot of man, well, not a lot, but there's a few man that I met from school that I still fuck with now, like hard. Like one of my brethren I linked in, you know, yesterday, day before yesterday, from school. Couple man we still like, you know, fuck with each other, go out for food and them things there, you get me? But yeah, man, so I would say, so what, secondary school for me was 02 to 07. So yeah, those times there was probably, you know, outside of school, it was getting cracking. Remember the story I told you earlier when I was 14, in year 9, doing, you know, homework and whatever happened outside of school. So yeah, man, that was a big part of my life. But yeah, school days, it was crazy, man. We was keeping up with things in school.